Hi Miss Kirk and Mr. Shadell, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we are going to give you 10 top tips on how to approach descriptive writing.
Okay, what's number one?
Okay, number one, do not tell a story. Provide a real sense of the atmosphere and what you can see and hear in a particular space or scenario without any characterisation or a plot line, especially no dialogue or anything like that.
Great. Secondly, once you've got your title and you know what you're going to be describing, try to come up with about 8 different things that you're going to focus on specifically in your description.
Now with these 8 things, you don't look at it all from one angle. Try and zoom in and look at the smaller aspects of it. If you're describing a person, you might zoom in on the lines of their face, like a crumpled paper bag, something like that. And then try and give a bird's eye view and look at things as if you're from far away.
Great. The fourth tip is to engage the reader's different senses. Okay, so obviously the bulk of your description is likely to be things that you can see, but you might also want to include things like smell or what you can hear as well.
And use the toolkits. We've got some really good adjective choices for you to be able to do that. You need to structure this, so you need to have lots of very clear paragraphs that talk about each thing, and that links on to our next tip, which is really important.
And that is using prepositions. These are probably the single best thing you can do to create a clear overall picture, okay? Because ultimately, when you're describing your 7 or 8 different things that you've picked, you need to also explain where they are relative to one another. So find a list of prepositions and just learn them, okay? So things like above or below or next to, because that will help you create a clear picture.
On the horizon, that's your zooming out, like I just said. It's really important. About half of your marks are on how accurate your writing is. So no comma splicing, and make sure that those common spelling errors that you might often make, like homophones there, that you know which one to use.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well as that, you need to make sure that you're including a variety of punctuation. Okay, if you've got 2 main clauses that are connected to one another, might be a good opportunity to use a semicolon. Equally, you want to vary your sentence types as well. So some that begin with a main clause and then have a subclause, some that begin with a subclause and then main, and then obviously there are bracket commas where you've got your subclause embedded between 2 halves of the main clause.
And linking to that, you must vary how you begin your sentences. So go back to in space and make sure that you're starting perhaps sometimes with an adverb, sometimes with an adjective, sometimes with a noun. But don't begin every sentence with the, because it sounds very list-like.
Mm-hmm. And finally, one of the top things that the examiners are going to be looking for is a variety of ambitious vocabulary. Again, the toolkits are a great place to start when you're preparing for your descriptive writing because they are full of amazing vocab that is going to seriously impress the examiner.
For example, don't say there were lots of commuters coming out of the tube exit. It could be swathes of commuters, multitudes of people, okay? So just make sure you're learning those words. And I think
that pretty much
that's
covers
everything.
it. Good luck.
Good luck.